Udala Radio, 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic. When politics unfolds, when decisions are made, we reveal the impact. Welcome to the Polity, your deep dive into the forces shaping governance, policies, and power. From the halls of government.
You were there. I was not there. Check the record. Wait now. You were there. I was not there.
To the voices of the people.
We are suffering. This suffering is too much. It's too much. Look at the students. There's no job. They finish school. There's no job for them.
We analyze the undercurrents, expose the intrigues, and break down the narratives that define our democracy. Dr. Tony Olisanbeki delivering razor-sharp analysis, and Ibuka Franklin and Chisom on the question wheel, driving the conversation. We bring you the most compelling discussions on governance, policies, and power plays. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay ahead. The Polity, every weekdays at 9:15 a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
Okay, so it's 17 minutes past 9 a.m. on Udala Radio 104.7 FM, and we are saying welcome to the Polity Tuesday edition, this 12th day of May 2026. And what we do on Polity is to bring you developments on various newspapers in the country and bring analysis of the topical developments across the country. My name is Franklin Ibuka, saying welcome once again to today's show, and we are ready. So if you're ready, let's get to have this very conversation today. We are live on our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM, on YouTube and Instagram. We are Udala Radio, and on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe so that each time our video pops up, you'll be able to get a notification and follow what we do. So you are highly welcome to today's program. Tony Lisambeki will do justice to the issues we are going to raise this very morning from the analysis desk. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning to you, Franklin Chukwebuka. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, Ndi Anambra. Good morning, Ndi Onitsha Donidu. Good morning, Ndi Osumo. Good morning, everyone under the reach of a voice. Good morning, elders, senior citizens, traditional leaders, and we also say good morning to our religious leaders, and we're also hoping that everybody is doing well, because we are going to go all out for those who circumvent, who subvert the very ethos, the very values we are known for as a people. Good morning to Ndiafia, Ndolwaka, Ndinanye Fonyinya, the commuters and also the transporters. We also say good morning to our farmers and those from different professions. In fact, those in journalism, journalists, of course, they put their lives in line to get this information. And also our security agents and agencies, those who are acting within the ambit of the rule and the law. Not those who go extrajudicial, those who go extra miles to prove a point, or those who think that the destiny of people lies in the gun he's in possession of. We say good morning to everyone. We thank God Almighty for a beautiful day today, being the 12th day in the month of May. Today is Tuesday, and for us here, we know how Tuesday is. It's always the busiest day in the week within this part of the country. I'm not talking about elsewhere. It's the busiest day. So we urge you to go out there and make a difference. And for sure, WAEC has started, and we know that those who are taking WAEC, they will be taking Igbo subject today around the different areas. We know what Igbo means to us. Is our core, is our language, is our identity. But on a note, there's something I want to draw the attention of the government to. because I understand that some private schools, they are commercializing everything about this work. They use it as a tool for extortion. A complaint came to me this very morning. One Divine Concept school in Odume, Obosi, where we are told that a student who was to sit for WAEC was asked to bring money for calculator. And the question is, what has calculator got to do with the Igbo subject being taken? And I was told that the proprietor was busy collecting money for help fee. I don't know what is help fee.
For what?
Help fee. So
like,
probably you
are they getting involved in the examination of
I don't know. Probably Franklin help me break it out. Help fee. And that's not just the school alone. Government must beam its searchlight on private schools. There are those who are using it as a tool for weaponization, extortion, money making. Government has sanitized government schools, public schools. But that sanitization did not extend to private schools. Many of them collect all manner of fees just for somebody to sit for exam like work. And not just exams, even during normal school processes. There must be regulation of private schools. There must. And we are going to take this up and make sure that the attention of government is brought to that very particular school and other schools that are also in such attitude where some school owners believe that their license for owning a school is a license for extortion. And what's the difference between such people and police who stay on the road collecting money from people? They are the same, but this person is doing it in a different way. We are going to beam our searchlight on that, because for me personally, I'm not going to take that very school lightly, because I'm going to make sure that government hammer comes on that very school. Is important. We thank God Almighty for a very beautiful day like this, for a miracle of waking up every day, every morning. And we thank God for this very day. And we believe that it will be a day of joy, as we usually say. And for Arsenal fans that have been celebrating, I don't know, you people should cut this celebration short. It's actually been extended. Yes, winning West Ham was like winning the league, but we know how important that save made by David Raya to deny Matthews. And at the same time, the VAR call that overturned the goal scored by West Ham. But the point remains that there was a foul on the goalkeeper, there's no doubt about that. But then we know very well that you have PSG to deal with in a matter of, I think, weeks, on 30th of May. So you have to cut the celebration short and concentrate on the activities, on the games to come. Of course, they have one of the teams to play, Burnley. After Burnley, that will be Crystal Palace. And Man City is on the other end, aiming to see you slide so that they can take over from you. You're welcome, and sit back and enjoy the program.
Okay, so yesterday on Doctor, somebody said you are an Arsenal fan, so maybe I don't know if you confirmed that or not. But by the way, I know he might be listening as we speak now. So aside what Tony talked about, there are some other developments we are going to touch on this very morning. Yesterday we talked about the medical doctor who was kidnapped somewhere at Mall, and whose release was secured by Sunday. Yesterday we got to know about somebody who has been fingered in the kidnapping incident. You know, they said a businessman based doing his business somewhere at Atiku, but his name has been mentioned. For now, it is an allegation until well proven, because by the time he's taken to court and the evidences are adduced, they will now know whether he was involved or not. So that is also getting some attention on the social media space. Then talk about Atma. Atma is in the news because yesterday the MD of Atma, railed out, should I say, 2.0 of what he intends to do in that very agency. And he mentioned that henceforth, route violation, the one they call one way, is going to attract like a 3 months impoundment of the 14 vehicles. And guess what? Social media was on fire between 7 and 8 p.m. yesterday. People are asking several questions. So, of course, we're going to bring it to bear on today's program. Then other developments we are going to see on the paper this very morning is about politics. Of course, it's no longer news that on Sunday, the political transfer window in Nigeria ended. That was the deadline for political parties to send their register to INEC. So any politician who did not make any move before that deadline So it can no longer be effected because that window has been closed. Parties can now focus on their primaries and other things. Then if you talk about the screening, we are seeing results from different screenings. And in Rivers State, somebody is shouting Anyama Anyama. And then in Anambra State here, we saw Abga saying that anybody who's coming for screening has to come with originals of their highest certificate. So I do not know if parties are taking this screening a notch higher this time around, or if there is any other thing we do not know. So many things are going to come on in the course of today's conversation. So we ask you to stay with us here because we have the papers and we have the ACs. Stay with us. Okay, so you are tuned to Udala Radio 104.7 FM, and this is the Polity, where we bring you headlines and analysis of the topical developments as captured by these very newspapers. And 4 newspapers this very morning, as usual: The Nation, Guardian, Vanguard, and Punch newspapers. And we have to stop over at The Nation to tell you the headlines here. And the big story there says Atiku attacks NDC over zoning of presidential ticket to South. He has a rider that says ex-VP decision taken to favor individual rather than national interest. Tinubu in Kenya for France-Africa Economic Cooperation meeting on page 2. I don't know, yesterday during that very summit, there was a summit between the leaders and the youth. And we saw how French President Emmanuel Macron, how he took the microphone. In fact, he had to interrupt somebody who was speaking, took the microphone to tell adults to stop making noise so that they'll be able to continue with the summit. And people were asking, what kind of thing is that where adults cannot control themselves? Our president was part of the summit in Kenya. And interestingly too, a university in Kenya was the host of this very summit. And somebody was asking, can we find such university in Nigeria that can host about 36 to 39 world leaders in such a summit? Then let's go over to other headlines we have on the Nation newspaper. Uzodimma Bagudu to diplomat. Tinubu's policies rebooted economy on page 2 of the Nation. Makinde now our member, says APMBOT chairman. The story is on page 3. PDP is being deserted by people who have ambitions, and from what we gathered, Makinde has also pitched tent with APM, just like Bala Mohammed in Bauchi State. Committee, why we disqualified 56 Rivers Assembly aspirants on page 4. So I do not know what is happening, because yesterday we mentioned it here that out of 90 something aspirants who went for screening for Rivers State House of Assembly aspiration, yes, 33 of them were cleared, and most of them who were cleared were those who aligned with former governor of Rivers State, and Yosen Wike, who is now the minister of the FCT. And majority of those ones who were disqualified were aligned with Fubara. But after that report circulated widely, there was a reporter that came from structure within APC saying that what we saw as a list was not official document coming for the committee that was involved in that very screening. But guess what? Despite that reporter or refutal, the first story is still flying here and there, and there are more things developing from that. Then we go over to the next story that says no more UTME for College of Education applicants on page 6 of the Nation newspaper. Adeleke dethrones Osun monarch jailed for COVID-19 fraud in US on page 33. That's where you can see that very story. From there, we move to the last story on the front page of the Nation. It says there's plot to destabilize PGF ahead of 2027 elections. Then on Guardian newspaper, the big story there says defectors face dual party registration sanctions, await next verdict on page 6. So eventually, if the name of a politician or an aspirant appears in the register of 2 political parties, whose fault would it be? Would it be the fault of INEC or would it be the fault of the aspirant? Take for instance, if the aspirant wrote to the party and declared their resignation, and eventually the party failed to deregister him, and he has dual names in 2 registers, whose fault would that be? Perhaps we might find the answer in the course of the program. You can read that on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Above the nameplate, Nigeria imports 1.8 billion liters of petrol as FX stability softens prices on page 3. ASUU threatens showdown with FG over 2025 agreement implementation on page 5. Tony, interestingly, ASUU and federal government got into a renegotiation. At the end of the day, they came to an agreement. In fact, federal government announced increment in their salaries and other things. And everybody was jubilating. People were pushing on the document. Over the weekend, that was on Sunday, I spoke to my friend who is a lecturer at UNISIC. I said, my bro, so I hear say people are now enjoying. And he said, it's audio promise. That's what he told me. He said, audio promise. I said, well, how do you mean? He said, everything federal government, put out there regarding the increment in the salaries, that nothing has been implemented. And now is out there on the front page of Guardian newspaper. On page 3, you will see court to hear suit seeking deregistration of ADC Accord Party authors. And then you will see the photo story there. You will see the picture of Josh Amupeto, INEC chairman, Rabi Kwankwaso, Peter Obi, Nyeso Wike, Sheyi Makinde, telling you where the battle is going to be when it comes to politics for 2027. JAM retains 150 cutoff mark for universities, exempts NCE candidates from UTME on page 3. INEC begins preparations for 2027 poll. 1.4 million ad hoc staff on page 9. INEC chairman led the delegation to the DG of National Youth Service Corps yesterday, where he talked about how the NYC has become an integral part of our elections, and he talked about the kind of professionalism and the help that the scheme has brought into our election management. Ramaphosa condemns xenophobic violence, vows crackdown on illegal migration on page 5. FG to leverage homeland security against internal threats amid overlap concerns. That was on, that's on page 5. Yesterday, the president announced the appointment of somebody as I think special advisor on homeland security. So that's a new addition now we have. APC battles widening cracks over candidate selection ahead of 2027 on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Fubara Wike's rift deepens as APC rejects 32 governor-backed aspirants on page 8 of the Guardian. On Punch newspaper, the big story says FG World Bank in talks over second largest $1.25 billion loan on page 2. The riders there, loan approval expected 6 months before 2027 presidential election. World Bank flags high political risk ahead of 2027 polls. NESG warns Nigeria's debt outlook remains troubling. Tinubu governors eulogize Fashorantin at 100 on page 12. A delicate deposits Oshun monarch after U.S. conviction on page 12. On page 14, Rivers Assembly Fubara loyalists reject APC screening report. 17 foreigners rescued in Lagos anti-trafficking operation on page 5. Oil hit $104 per barrel as US-Iran peace deal fails on page 37. And this one says 2027 presidency, Atiku's Northern ticket campaign faces resistance on page 2. NNPC and UPRC remit 322 billion naira, $116.9 million after Tinubu order on page 37. Coup plotters reached out for spiritual cover, cleric on page 12. Interesting. ISIS moves operations to West Africa, US ones on page 7. And the last paper this very morning is the Vanguard. On Vanguard, the big story there says 2027 presidency, Jonathan caught in PDP's quagmire on page 5. Tinubu appoints Homeland Security Advisor to strengthen internal security on page 9. FMPP alerts Tinubu of plot to destabilize PGF ahead of 2027 polls on page 4. And then Vanguard also has a story about NESG, raising fresh concerns over Nigeria's debt burden. That story can be found on page 19. And in a similar manner, it also says JAMB retains 150 cut-off points for universities and scraps UTME for NCE applicants with 4 credits. Atiku kicks against Southern presidency, warns opposition against self-defeatist politics on page 26. On page 28, 2027, Wike Fubara's rivalry deepens. Yesterday, Wike said he's not. He was being asked question about Fubara having some difficulty during his screening, and he said he did not tell him. How would he know that he's not a native doctor to be able to know what someone has in his mind? Okay, we move to the next headline here that says 42 killed in Zamfara, Benue attacks, many abducted. 42 killed in Zamfara, Benue attacks, many abducted on page 7. And the writer there says 40 Nigerian fishermen feared dead after Chadian airstrikes on Lake Chad. You can see that very one is on page 25 of the Vanguard newspaper. And with that, we conclude the headlines we have on the front pages of the 4 papers we brought to you this very morning, Tuesday, the May 12, 2026. So next will be for us to bring you the analysis of these very issues. And we have to begin from here, home, Anambra State, because a development that is going to affect a good number of people who are going to pass through Anambra State in the coming days is about to kick off. And what is that? Stay with us.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, so it's now 9:38 a.m. and you are listening to The Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. We are live on our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. You can go to the page, drop your comments, and please, while you're writing, make it readable and comprehensible. That is going to help us to articulate your thoughts the way you intended. Okay, so thank you for doing that for us. So, Tony, here in Anambra State yesterday, we saw development coming from Anambra Road Traffic Management Agency known as ATMA. Of course, ATMA has the former MD reappointed. He was reappointed about going to 2 weeks now that he was reappointed. And yesterday was the very first parade he had with his men. And during that very parade, he read out the way they're going to go in this very second phase. And after that, there was a public notice that was issued yesterday, which caught the Anambra social media space on fire, and people were asking questions. If you look at that very public notice, ATMA is now saying that the penalty for route violation, the one we call one way in Anambra State, is now 3 months vehicle impoundment without the option of fine. And they are saying with this, people should drive responsibly. And guess what? The MD of ATMA signed that very public notice. And people are asking questions. Why this very way? Is there any law backing this? Have they trained their men before going this very way? But I saw a few people who were on the side of ATMA saying that people do not want to take responsibility, that people do not want to, be orderly, that they want to be policed all the time. That's why each time they see such a notice, they begin to cry to high heavens. Before the analysis, let's get to hear what the ATMA MD, talking about Emeka Okonkwo-Konti, what he said during the parade he had with his men in Awka yesterday.
Okay, my name is Engineer Emeka Konti, the reappointed MD of Anambra Road Traffic Management Agency, ATMA. Okay, today we're gathered. This is actually the first parade since I was reappointed. It's time to change gears, like Mr. Governor always says. I had an opportunity to thank Mr. Governor in the presence of my officers. Thank Mr. Governor Professor Charles Chukwuma-Soludo, CFR, for another opportunity to serve on the Anambra as the MD of ATMA. Like they say, the reward for good work is more work. So my reappointment has really shown that my team and myself has really done very well during his first tenure. Today, while gathered, we're able to fish out so many ghost workers. You know, if you don't work, you don't earn. That's been the principle of Mr. Governor. So today we fished out the ghost workers after the head count. We now know our numbers and now have room to recruit more people to be able to, for the agency to work efficiently. Okay, for the 2.0, we're going digital. We had the conversation with the officers today about our thoughts of bringing in the ANPR cameras. These cameras would help us a lot because it will help reduce the friction between the offenders and the officers. Once you commit an offense, you'll be captured by the camera, and then your bill will be sent directly to you, and you have to pay to the revenue service. So we're gradually moving from the manual kind of enforcement to the digital kind of enforcement. We also had time to advise and speak to these officers that they must present the face of this agency. We must have a good face while apprehending offenders. You don't need to be brutal, you just speak to them politely, get them to the office, they'll pay their fines. We also had another opportunity to talk to the duty room officers. It's a cashless policy for this government. Cashless policy, so we should not receive these traffic fines in cash. We wrote to the ARS and we're getting the e-payments POS. We should get them all by the end of today. So this second tenure of mine in ATMA, I believe will be a fruitful one. Also, we had the opportunity again to speak to road users. It is a 3 months, no option of fine, impoundment of vehicle. Any vehicle we find driving against traffic, that's route violation, popularly known as one way. If we impound any vehicle on one way, 3 months mandatory enforcement, no option of fine.
Okay, certainly, you heard from the MD of ATMA where he read that what is going to be in the second phase of his manning of ATMA in Anambra State, and many questions, like I said, have been raised. The ones in favor and the ones against what has been read out. So, what are you thinking about what you just heard him say on this very note?
Well, I saw the video yesterday, but I didn't take time to listen to the fullness the way we listen to it now. But just as you say that the social media, as usual, have been on fire because of these pronouncements. And questions are raised. For me, I will look at it from different sides, from different angles. Because I'm more particular about if it falls within their jurisdiction. Has ATMA power for such pronouncement? Has ATMA power for such empowerment? What does the law say? What is the provisions of whatever law upon which this was predicated upon? And the fine in question, of course, there's no fine, you say, without option of fine. The judicial overview and possibly the issue of, listening to the other side. Because we believe in the principle of audi or terrem partem. You hear from the other party. Is this action ultra vires? I mean, that means, is it beyond their powers? These are some of the things we're going to look at. And also the human face to this issue. Has this any human face? Is it correctional? Or is it something more than correctional, like detrimental? There are a lot we must look at for us to arrive at a meaningful conclusion. Let's begin with the first. Yes, we'll all listen to him. Congratulations once again for his reappointment, and that shows that probably he has done certain things to the satisfaction of the governor that made the governor to reappoint him. That is one. Then secondly, we know very well that the Anambra State Road Traffic Management Agency, that's the name, the one we know as ATMA, Anambra State Road Traffic Management Agency. We have such law that established this agency, and the law that establishes this agency is the Anambra State Road Traffic Management Law 2015. That's the law that established ATMA, and the law also empowers ATMA to impound, remove, detain vehicles for a reasonable length of time, but that must be provided in their own rules and regulations, what we call bylaw. But the law did not state the exact period that should be. If the law did not state that, but the law uses the word reasonable, and also the law emphasizes that it should also be, that reasonable time must be specifically mentioned in their own bylaws. For that, we don't know if they have updated their bylaw before this pronouncement. But nevertheless, another thing is, having been empowered by such law, remember to not just impound, but also to remove and also detain vehicles for a reasonable length of time over traffic violations. The law also authorized them to impose prescribed fines via regulation made. That's the law also, but they are talking about no option of fine, but even the law authorizes them to impose fine. And the law also allows them to make bylaw for their regulation. Now, the issue is, I remember there was earlier notice, sometime around January 2026. That notice mentioned 1 month for the same offense on certain routes. There are some routes, they issued notice that if you drive one way on these routes, there will be 1 month impoundment without option of fine. But that was their notice in the early January 2026. Why that did not attract much attention was because not every route, and at the same time the period or duration was just 1 month. Now these 3 months, for them, they are saying it as is toughened zero tolerance measure, especially on dual carriageway, like most of the dual carriageways we have around the states. Just like I said earlier on, the agency derives its authority from 2015 state law, which permits detention, removal, and also impoundment for a reasonable period, and also fines via regulation. But the thing is, because I've seen arguments, and we must cover the area of that argument. That argument stems from the fact that the issue of mandatory impoundment without judicial oversight, or even fine option, the critics believe that it raises issues of fairness, because you cannot be the prosecutor, the adjudicator, and also the executor. Just one person. That no law maybe gives you such vast power. You are the one prosecuting, you are the one adjudicating, you are the one executing what you have adjudicated. So where lies the issue of fair hearing? I don't know if you understand the point I'm trying to make. That is why some of these laws made, they are not extricated from judicial oversight. And I've said it many times that if you disagree with any of these, their work, you can take them to court. ASUU can be sued. Yes, you can take ASUU to any state high court. But the truth remains that the judiciary will interpret the law. Because I have said it many times, even those who have known me for a long time knows that I have been. Yes, there are laws that empower some state agencies to impose this fine. And the law becomes silent on judicial oversight. And the law will not say upon conviction, upon this. Because if you look at Administration of Criminal Justice Acts, and then if you look at Criminal Code, if you look at Penal Code, if you look at some of even the federal and state laws we have here, they will tell you upon conviction. What it means that there is judicial oversight. But most of the state laws do not add things like upon conviction, because it's believed that the agency will take superintendent over some of these things. But you look at it, is it something that is anchored based on rule of law? The point I'm trying to make is there should be some judicial oversight in some of these things, because for you to impound somebody's vehicle for 3 months without judicial oversight, it could raise a lot of questions. That is more reason why I believe if your vehicle is impounded for one-way traffic, you may challenge the powers of ASUU in state high courts. If you think that such power is ultra-vires, that is beyond their power, that they cannot be the prosecutor, the adjudicator, and the executor, it can't be, because the law may not allow somebody to hold those powers at the same time. You can challenge that. But for issue at hand, one way, it is prevalent in Anambra State. There's no doubt about it. Prevalent. And especially from commercial drivers. Just driving to this very place, you will see the way bus drivers, shuttle drivers, and then even keke, there is zero, or probably there is this issue of negligence of traffic regulations here, especially in the commercial city of Onitsha and Awka. People do not want to comply to this because you know what? They don't like keying up. You will see some people approaching a traffic sign. You will see some that will key up. There are those that will never key up. Either they try to beat that, to jump that, or try to drive one way. The idea is that they are in a hurry. They need to go and pick the next set of passengers waiting somewhere. And if you stop these people, they will find a way to give you money so that you stay out of the road for them. And the people concentrate on the reactions, because we see many times that the actions of these ATMA officials, they are unprofessional, which I have also admitted to. How they go about enforcement is something we must also look into. I've seen unprofessional conduct, but there are this attitude of some people, bus drivers, shuttle drivers, keke drivers, and even some private owners, even some security agents in Lagos. You won't try it. The governor of Lagos State stopped a military officer in Lagos, Sanwo-Olu, stopped him for driving one way. There was a time he also stopped another one for using I think blue rail or whatever he shouldn't have used. Even security agents, security operatives, they don't obey traffic rule. They will see traffic sign, they will never queue up. Even when they are not in any emergency mode, or they are not fighting, or maybe somehow trying to see if they can catch a criminal. The only time they are exempted, the only time they are exempt of traffic regulations is if they are in emergency mode. Outside being in emergency mode, security operatives, even those carrying bullion vans don't obey traffic laws. And I don't know what Atma may be doing. Bullion vans are not above traffic regulations. We've seen bullion vans, they don't queue up. Once they get to that place, see, they are not in emergency mode. These are things that must be checked. Military, police, many of them, they don't obey these things.
Okay, so Tony, let's establish some things so that we'll be able to have a good ground laid. One is this: the MD of ATMA has announced that henceforth, any road violation, the one who call one way, if you are caught, is going to be 3 months impoundment of your vehicle. As we speak now, I cannot independently verify if that is codified in the law that established ATMA, because I have searched everywhere. I didn't see anyone. That's why we are asking also too for Anambra State Assembly to help us in making their laws, available. I mean, the soft copies, if they're available, it becomes more accessible for people to be able to, because I've searched for that law to see whether there is express codification of a fine of 3 months impoundment of vehicle that violates routes. So I cannot verify that very one. But if you look at some reports in certain media, you will see where they have issues of 50,000 naira fine and then 3 months impoundment of a vehicle, and you have to get clearance from a psychiatric home before you can get your vehicle back. So that's on one side.
Okay.
Then when I talk about the issue of, should I say, contradictions, that was last year, I think. Yeah, last year during the campaigns, the governor of Anambra State, Professor Chuma Soludo, he was in Onitsha here, right there at Chubi Bazu Stadium, where he met with tricycle riders, and over there the issue of the fine they do pay when they violate or when they are caught in violation of traffic rules came up, and he said henceforth, as of that very moment, that any violation should not be fined more than 10,000 naira. So we have different directives, so to say, out there now, whether what the governor said last year subsides or what Conti just said yesterday is none nothing. So how do they now make this what do we expect from ATMA to do in respect to this, so that people will become clear on whether they have the legal right to be able to impound vehicle? If they're going to impound vehicle, is it going to be unilateral? Is there going to be any kind of mobile courts to come in before they can take the action?
Right. I explained some of these things before, but I'm going to also maybe put or cite some of these laws. If you go to, I'm going to read some relevant sections of that very law. Section 11, subsection 1 of the Anambra State Road Traffic Management Law 2015. I'm reading section 11, subsection 1. And then it says that the agency, the Anambra State Road Traffic Management Agency, shall have power A, to impound, remove, and detain for a reasonable length of time, as provided in the bylaw, any vehicle causing or creating obstruction or congestion on the highway, or is improperly stopped or parked on the highway, or is driven on a road median or road verge or against traffic. That is A. Then the B says, tow away and park impound vehicles in authorized parking places. Subsection 11, subsection 1C says, because I read subsection 11, subsection 1A, subsection 1B, and subsection 1C says, impose and cause to be paid into the agency's designated bank account such fines as are prescribed for specific violations contained in regulations made pursuant to this law. Everything is very clear. Just like I said earlier on, now I was explaining that.
So the regulations or bylaws of
this is not a bylaw. This is
the law establishing ATMA
exactly
specify that the agency has the power to impound,
remove, detain for a reasonable length of time. It did not specify any given time. It didn't say 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. It says for a reasonable length of time as provided in the bylaw. So before they come up with any length of time, they must provide it in their regulation. And they say that regulation must be made pursuant to this law. So they must have a regulation, a bylaw first, state the very duration, and the law that establishes them says a reasonable length of time. That's what the law provides. And for them, if they think 3 months is reasonable, they may be within the ambit of the law. But I'm looking at it from the angle of human face. And also, if you listen to me very carefully, I didn't say issue of judicial oversight, because the need for them to have even a mobile court. The person who is being accused must be heard, must be listened to. That is the principle of law. Audi or terem partem. We must hear from you, so that nobody becomes the prosecutor, the adjudicator, and the executor. We have road safety. They have mobile courts. Even when we know that they are the ones also managing the mobile courts. But the idea is to listen to the person, even when when the person is caught red-handed, he is still assumed to be innocent until proven. And how to prove it is because of the cameras they want to mount, because I was told that they'll be mounting cameras and they will also be videoing and some of these things. You use that thing so the person will understand truly, I have offended the law, and the prescription is what? Because now they are coming up with issue of no option. The law empowers them. The law empowers them. But the other aspect of it is the human aspect of it. Do you think that the 3 months, because the idea is to toughen the stance on zero tolerance to one-way traffic, because Ibebe or the Kandara Erinde, you must use tough measures. If you don't use tough measures, you may not win the battle of bringing normalcy into the congregation of some mad people. Is a figurative analysis I'm trying to make, figuratively. But the point I'm trying to make is there will be a human face to every law. About I will understand where they are coming from, no doubt. What they have done, I have said the law is within their ambit, is within their powers to do so. But don't you think 3 months is too lengthy? Because the law says reasonable length of time. Is 3 months reasonable? And because that is an open-ended question, anybody can interpret it to mean anything. Is 3 months reasonable?
Okay. So having said that, let's go to the area of payment. They said payments will now henceforth be through a designated government account.
Okay.
If you violate any traffic rule, and the penalty is that you have to pay a certain fine, it's no longer come to the office or go by the roadside and pay. Rather, there's going to be an account linked to AIROS where you're going to pay that money. So how enforceable is this? Because knowing the kind of people that we have seen on the road.
It boils down to the officers, because according to Conti, say that they have also discovered ghost officials. There are those who are not their members, and these are the people spoiling whatever image they are trying to create. And those who are not their members will always extort from people, take cash and put inside their pocket, and even harass you, intimidate you, molest you. It's important they try to ensure professionalism in their work. Very important. How you approach somebody who may have offended or violated traffic regulation, how you do that is also important. And I've said it many times that some of these state officials should have body-worn cameras. You don't send somebody out to the market square or on the road or to wherever you deem fit without having a way to remotely monitor what the person does. Because if the person is actually trying to provide service for the public, he should be monitored. That is one. Having said that, and secondly, it is important, even the law allows them to bring a designated bank account, and now they have chosen that it's going to be Anambra State government's bank account. No more cash payments, that it must be through transfer, POS, and then whatever you have, electronic means. The idea is for documentation. Would they keep to that? Because if you make attempt to keep to that, what about those ghost workers who are not your members, who are bent to extort, to molest, to beat, to slap? Most times when we see these people doing this, if you bring them to the apartment, we tell you these are not our members. What then are you doing to make sure they are not on the road? Because if they are not your members doing this, then where is in their code the SASA? Because they will be touts. And where they wear your uniform to perpetrate that, that is impunity. I would encourage them to go beyond some of these things. We know that the idea of 3 months is to say no more one way. That is the implication. Because they said no option of fine. That means that they are not interested in your money. That's what it means. They are not interested in your money. The idea is that no more one-way traffic. That's the idea. The message, if you turn it upside down, the message they are trying to pass is no more one-way. Not really the money. All but right. The idea, just like I said, it must have a human face. All
right. So camera issue noted, and the mode of payment in case of somebody is going to pay fine is going to be through a centralized account linked to AIROS. Now the issue will now be how are they going to rein on these very things? Now, does ATMA have a reporting system, a system or window or a channel through which people can lay complaints when they are molested, when they are waylaid, when they are ambushed, when they are assaulted, when they are intimidated? Is there a platform or channel through which people can lodge complaint for review? Because that's the only way you can keep these guys under check. That's number one. Then you now talk about in the issue of unfair impoundment, which you have mentioned. That's where the issue of the issue of the court has to come in. That's what I'm talking about. There's need for the third eye.
Judicial overview.
Yes, third eye. So that if there's any unfair impoundment, there should be able to be a remedial procedure so that people can get justice. The another one is to go ahead to enforce other traffic regulations. What about the road signs and signals? Are they all there? Take for instance the sign that will show that certain places are not meant for vehicles to be parked, or you are not meant to pick up passengers there. Because if you look at that regulations of ATMA, you see that illegal parking is something against the law in this very state. And what they say is this: that's what they call parking and obstruction, and they say that it is illegal for you to park within 50 meters of a junction or roundabout. That is a regulation by ATMA, and if your vehicle breaks down, you have a responsibility to ensure that it is towed out within 1 hour. These are regulations. Then when it comes to picking passengers and dropping passengers, according to ATMA, you must pick passengers or drop passengers only at designated motor parks or loading bays. All right. Then when it now comes to road usage, trading on the road is prohibited and goods can be confiscated. And the last one I'm going to point out is that enforcement hours, 7 days a week, and they say 24 hours a day, including Sundays, which we know that they have fallen short of this very one. But I want us to look at the other areas, those things that need to be there before the enforcement. Take for instance, how many parks do we have in Anambra State that commercial bus drivers should not pick passengers, by the roadside? In as much as we know that these bus drivers, they pick passengers indiscriminately. They don't mind stopping by the middle of the road to pick up passengers. But these things are supposed to be there on the ground to help in this navigation. How is this agency going about it?
All right, let's quickly wrap up this because I'm interested in that very kidnapping incident that happened somewhere where people are talking about. But let's quickly wrap up on this one. You asked very brilliant questions and you raised a lot of things that must be looked into. Every agency of government serving the public must have a public complaint unit. Definitely. The idea is to review some works and at the same time review your staff. Everybody must be watched. As you are watching me, I must also watch you as well. You ask if ATMA has that. I'm not working for ATMA, so I wouldn't know. I'm not even aware, but that does not mean they may not have it unless I do my check and find out. But if that is the issue, how accessible do the public know about this the unit? That's important. You must review your internal stewardship at all time. I'm aware that each time you call Conti, he picks the call. And you lay any complaint, he treats it immediately. But he can't be everywhere. You can imagine many people call him for one complaint or the other. It means that he may not have a time to look or to do any other thing. That is one reason I don't know if he has set up such a unit. But I'm going to find out from him if he has done that. It is important. It is imperative. And also because there are those that will be unfairly treated. They must have a way to lay a complaint. That is one. And secondly, they should also look at setting up mobile courts to give fair hearing to those who may wish to say something, who may have contrary view to whatever violation they may have been deemed to have done or committed. You must give them that window and it must be looked into. These are the two things. So I wouldn't know if that has been set up or not, but I'm going to find out. But it is imperative they should have that. They should also work on the professionalism of their men. The conduct is not by beating, but though they have said that they don't do that, that those that do that, they are mainly not their workers, they are not their members. But do something to make sure that these people who are not your members are not in any way within such space. The regulations they made, you must stop or you will not park at any junction. Fantastic. Most junctions in Anambra State are congested, especially in the evening. They do their work during the day. What about during evening? Because that is where we usually have problem. Not during the day. During the day, or is not the what we call the traffic time. We are talking about 5 p.m., 6 p.m., And 7 p.m., go to Mpo Junction, go to different junction. It is totally impassable. You will see street hawkers, street traders, they will take some meters on the road. They will narrow every passage to the point that there will be a deadlock. It is totally impossible. So I'm also going to challenge Atma. The work you do during the day, do it till 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Because our people here, they are concerned about money making. How they go about the money making, they don't want to follow the rule. Somebody wants to occupy they load on the road. I've seen situations where buses, they load on the road. They don't care. That anomaly, that rascality, that impunity must stop. It's important.
If you get to the first under road of the Aroma flyover by 5:30 to 6, you see that Emeka Anyango Boulevard that leads to Government House. You won't be able to recognize it. What people do there, keke riders, they will leave the loading bay where they load, and come to the road and begin to load. Then you see traders with different kinds of wheelbarrows and co. They will come to the road and begin to trade there.
That is the
During
problem.
the time you won't see them, but once it gets to 5, the moment Atma people disappear on the road, they surface and mess up everywhere.
For me, the major prime time for Atma work is morning and evening. Not even necessarily during the daytime, because the daytime you have other agencies like road safety, police, they will be all out, or child brigade. But I'm looking at Atma, that 5 to 7 p.m. and essentially from 8 to 10 p.m. These are two essential times, from 8 to 10 a.m. in the morning, and from 5 to 7 p.m. That is their prime time for me, and they should take it holistically. Professionalism is a key, but because the madness here, for me, it is unimaginable.
So on a final note, this is just to the MD of Atma. I think he should also find a way to improve the communication he does have with some commercial drivers and keke drivers. Why am I saying this? I belong to their WhatsApp group, a WhatsApp group of 423 keke riders in Anambra State, with some of the executive. Alex Obulu is also there, Osionuku, just a couple of government officials that are there. Then he's there. I follow things there, so I see how the communication are being managed. So you should also improve on how he managed communication with them, so that they will get to see what Atma is doing, and so they will be able to work, hand in hand to ensure that we have our, we have our roads very safe and orderly. Then Tony, about the kidnapping incident that happened, we're going to wrap up on that very one. The latest is that there's this report that a businessman is fingered in the kidnapping, and they said he has a shop, but nobody knew that he was allegedly involved in that. Like I said, for now it's an allegation, so it can only be confirmed when maybe somebody sends him to court and is proven.
Well, it's an allegation, but prima facie has been established. If we were in court, the young man will be asked to enter into defense. And when we talk about prima facie, we will talk about indicting evidence. Yes, it's an allegation, but prima facie has been established.
So what's the prima facie here?
Prima facie is that he was caught in the act. He was caught in the act. In fact, when the SAS operatives, in the wee hours, raided his home, the MD of Crown Hospital was rescued right in his home, along with 3 other kidnapped victims. You are caught in the act, but the law says he is still a suspect, and the law also added until proven guilty. And who can prove him guilty? The court of law. But I'm also adding that prima facie has been established. But the interesting aspect of the whole thing is the fact that people that live double life, and this is a man known very well at Mbuko Bose. Mbuka is one of the most populous markets. If you go there, you see boys where all manner of things, abracadabra, but they are doing good things. Because the other day I spoke with the chairman. Somebody, in fact, he had wanted to speak to me, but because we don't have contacts. And he spoke to me through somebody's phone. Yes, and he was telling me the works they have been doing to sanitize that market. But I will leave it at that because that's not what we are talking about. We are talking about this young man known at that market as one of the big importers. I was told that different types of lights and other parts he imports. But behind that importation, behind that kind of lifestyle lies another lifestyle. During the day, he is an importer, a dealer, known popularly, known very well at Mbukobosi. In the evening, he is a serial kidnapper. And we are told from the report we've gathered that this young man in view has a beautiful house, no doubt. In fact, I saw the house on social media. Very beautiful, very modern. The house somehow exotic. Now, we are told that he goes all out to kidnap some known name. He doesn't kidnap random. He's not a random kidnapper. Like you are spotted riding a very big vehicle. You are spotted riding a very, G-Wagon. No. It's not. He kidnaps those who have surname, known very well. These are people he go after. These are people he goes after. Now, what happened on that very day? Around that Mbobosi, it was on the 7th of May. In the evening, armed gunmen, disguised in military and police uniform. We've talked about how they stormed the Cram Hospital, they held staff and security at gunpoint, seized phones, abducted Dr. Emega Ako while he was on a ward round, and they used black Lexus RS350 and carried out the operation without shooting. Remember, they may have had informant in that hospital that told them where the doctor will be doing ward round, because that doctor don't usually come out to do ward round. Somebody must have related the information to them for them to come at the time the doctor was doing the ward round. But guess what? In the early hours of Sunday, that's May 10th, because the one that gets into Monday.
Yeah, it happened on 7th.
Yeah, of course, this incident happened on 7th. I'm talking about the rescue. The one that happened on Sunday. The operatives of SACS and tactical police team, they raided that his well-furnished duplex.
Do we say have SARS, Tony?
We call them SARS. We call them Rapid Anti-Response Squad. But let's not call them SARS because there's nothing like SARS. Of course, we have to use their appropriate name. Rapid Response Squads. Of course, these were the people, and their tactical squad as well. These were the people that raided that well-furnished duplex at Obosi Junction near Obosi Road. Of course, we know that very area very well. And that doctor was rescued unhurt, along with some reports say 3 other victims, some say 4. And this young man, known as Fabulous, that's the name. And some people are saying that, I've seen some posts, some say that he's from Imo State. He's 36 years old, from the report we've gathered. Some say he's not from Imo State, some say he's from Newi. People who were mentioning Umudim Newi, some were mentioning Imo State.
Because all these things are in the realm of everybody trying to
speculation. So we wouldn't say where he is from because they were having contradicting reports. But the truth remains that this young man equipped that very building with CCTV. He equipped it to the point that if you are coming in from any angle, he will sight you. But guess what? CCTV how they work at night or early morning when the day is blurred. The truth remains that the Anambra State government zero tolerance policy on kidnapping, we must commend the police. We must commend those who played one role or the other. This has been happening. If you look at what was found, with people bones. What it means that in his dungeon there were people that died, and he faced his building to a bush.
Now, Tony, let me put out this. Yesterday I had a chat with the chief security officer of Chief Chris Okudeze.
Okay.
And there's something he said, because he mentioned the name of that particular area where this thing was discovered. He said it's known as Abommili. Abombo.
Yeah, you are just going so deep. We usually call it a pump.
Now he said that for them, that for them, that very area, they were denied oversight function in that very area.
By who?
Both in administration and security, by the handlers of the estate.
Maybe the man in view is one of the proprietors of the estate management who has influence, who has money, and they provided their own estate security. And being that they have their own estate security, they now imply, since we have our own security, there's no point you bringing your own security to oversight our own security, because the issue of security is an issue of trust. They believe that they have money, that if you allow your own security, they may undermine our own security. That was the trust issue that they had. That was what the young man was actually trying to imply. But they never knew that behind such claim of bringing your security to undermine our own security, there was something behind. The truth is, this revelation is one of the winnings. In fact, it's one of the wins we have had this period, honestly speaking. And we are talking about Dr. Emegako. I don't know, because some reports had it that they have started demanding millions. Why would we be demanding 500 million? There was a report that had it. Some report says 1 billion for his release. And for such a medical doctor, the family may be willing to sell anything to get him released. If they had insisted on 500 million for his release or 1 billion, the family will cough it out. And that's all the kind of people they go all after. Those big men at Mbuka Electrical, and there's another one, Amazon or something like that. They know those big importers. They specifically go after these big importers, these people with big name, not just random kidnappers.
All right, so let's talk about this political development before we get to take this very commercial break. That's what the camp of Atiku Abubakar said.
All right.
He said that for the opposition to have, let's be specific now, for the NDC to have zoned its presidential ticket to the south, it said it's like going to the election already defeated. And according to the camp of Atiku, he said in the history of Nigeria, there is no precedent where an opposition challenger from the same geopolitical bloc, a sitting president, has ever unseated the president.
Well, I think everybody is entitled to every opinion. Your opinion is your opinion, and Nigerians will make decision. That zoning your presidency to the south, that undermines your chances. APC in 2023 did zone their presidency to the south. That's how President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came on top. Even when you can't restrict others from buying from, I've said it many times, but did that undermine their chances? Zoning has been one of the things known with PDP. PDP is the molder of zoning, and Atiku has also benefited from zoning. If not for zoning, he wouldn't have become the vice president. And if not for zoning, some of the times he positioned himself for that position, he wouldn't have also become either an aspirant or candidate, as the case may be. The truth is, he goes out for what favors him. These are political statements at this point, and people are going to make political statements based on what they think, based on what they feel, or based on what they understand that will favor them, not because it is true. It's political statements. So the issue of zoning has been one of the things most political parties are known for, and PDP started it since the advent of this Fourth Republic.
So, but in the recent of fate, what is the possibility that if the opposition is fielding candidates from the north, that is going to sway things?
Well, it's still a possibility. You ask, what is the possibility? The possibility is the possibility. If you ask me that question, the possibility that it is going to swing things is also a possibility. And it may or may not. It's neither here nor there. The point I'm trying to make here is this. We've seen...
Okay, look at what I'm asking.
Okay.
Now, we no longer have one coalition party.
Yeah.
We now have ADC, we have NDC, we have PRP, also some win, as much as it could be argued that they are not playing big now as NDC and ADC. And if NDC and the ADC are going to field a northern presidential candidate, that means northern votes are likely to be divided.
Of course, I've said it yesterday. When I made my statement yesterday, people were asking questions. I said there will be division of votes. Yes, I know Atiku will be positioning himself to ride on northern votes. Atiku may not win any state from south. The state he won in the last elections, as a result of the governors using PDP structures to ensure vote for him. He won in Akwa Ibom. He won in Bayelsa. As I mentioned yesterday, he won in Osun State. These were some southern states Atiku won. And I'm saying that Eno made it possible in Akwa Ibom State. Bayelsa Duri made it possible. In Osun, Adeleke made it possible. And these were traditional PDP states. These were southern states he won. And he's not going to win any of these states from the look of things. Because those structures made him won in those states, not because they love him so much. And in some northern states he won, PDP structures provided vote for him. Now these structures are no more there. It's going to be his surname. He's going to answer that every day. And some supporters, Atiku, for the last I checked, he doesn't have any movement like Kwankwaso, like Obedient, like the one of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. They have movements rooting for them, forming some kind of structures. Atiku has none. He has none. He has been relying on PDP structures. PDP structure is no more. And that's why I say this election is between the president and P2B. And I have given my prediction. And it's my prediction.
All right. So at this point, we'll go for commercial break.
Frank, I had wanted us to talk something about the forward, something what went on in Kenya. Briefly.
Just hold on. We'll take reaction, then we use it to wrap up so that we'll be able to manage our time. Then yesterday, Rabbi Kwankwaso was on television where he talked about the NDC is doing its ticket to the south. He said he's comfortable with it, and he has already told his that he's willing to work with Obi. And from what he said, he seems to be at home to be the running mate to Obi in 2027. Exactly. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
Searching for a place to eat good food and still enjoy premium relaxation? Stanley World Agwoka got you covered. Welcome to Stanley SFF Restaurant and Operator Lounge Agwoka, where taste meets class. From hot, delicious local dishes to mouth-watering African and continental cuisines, pepper soup, grilled meat, rice, drinks, and many more. Everything is fresh and satisfying. Step into Operator Lounge, a calm, classy environment to chill, hang out, and unwind. Perfect for friends, dates, and after work relaxation. Chop well, drink well, and feel cool morning, afternoon, and night. Stanley SFF Restaurant and Operator Lounge, a haven for good food, great vibes, top security, and steady comfort. For further inquiry, call 0814-565-6920 or 0813-855-8009.
Nebek Real Estate brings you opportunity that grow with you. Greenfield Estate, just 1 minute from Owerri Road. King's Court Estate in Isa, opposite American University. Purity Garden and Classic Estate, Asaba, just 10 minutes from Asaba International Airport. Ikenga Luxury Estate, Ojoto, 7 minutes to Electrical Dealers Market, Obosi. Nebek. Invest today, gain tomorrow. Visit us at 25 Oka Road on Nisha, beside Mandela, or Asaba Office 21 and 22, Brent Oil Mall, 295 East Road, opposite Lionhouse, Asaba, or call us on 080-3265-7455 or 070-1607-8648 or visit us at www.nebedgroup.com.
Are you looking for a perfect space to make your events unforgettable? From child dedications to weddings, concerts, birthday parties, crusades, or even corporate events. City Hall Entertainment Ventures presents City Hall, Awada, located at number 10 Ijala Street, near Ukebu Junction, Awada Obusi. With a 600 seating capacity, state-of-the-art stage, standard wash facilities, a massive parking space, 24/7 lighting, and proper ventilation and cooling system to keep your guests super comfortable. City Hall Entertainment Ventures, and even cooling equipment to make sure that all your drinks are chilled. For bookings and reservations, please call 0803-324-2806 or 0906-000-7617. Hurry now to number 10 Ijala Street, Awada for all bookings and reservations and get a 10% discount.
Vacancy. Ross Global Housing Estate is looking for smart male or female sales reps with a sound marketing and sales ability with a willingness to learn and grow faster. Apply in person at the corporate office, Global Pavilion, Kilometer 3, Ibo, Enugu Expressway, near 5-star New Pass, ATC House. For inquiries, call 080-3248-2101. Again, 080-3248-2101. Monthly marketing allowance and sales commissions, very attractive. It's your turn to shine. Be part of the progress team. Ross Global Housing Estate. We are global.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You see that nylon for your hand? You want drop am for ground, abi? That's where you start. One person, two people, before you know it, everywhere done dirty. Drainage go block, flood go come. Do the right thing. Find a dustbin, throw am well. Keep your area clean.
104.7 Udala Radio.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, so it's time for you to get involved in this very conversation. Time for you to air your view on the issues we have raised this very morning on the Polity. Of course, you are listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. My name is Franklin Bekatonolis on the analysis desk. And we have to hit the phone lines now, 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. Please remember you have a limited time for you to make your contribution.
Franklin Ebuka.
Yes, good morning, your name.
Good morning, Dr. Tony Olisambeki.
You're welcome.
My name is Okochuku from Wood, Enugu State.
Go on, Mr.
Before I proceed, let me correct an impression. Tony, in Akwa Ibom, Eno is not the governor in 2023. It's Udom. Emmanuel is the one that...
Yeah, Udom. Yeah, that's true.
Emmanuel.
Yeah, Udom, that's true.
Yeah.
Please go on.
Then, what I want to say here is very simple. If this 2027 election, I said it before, people who trying to contest against Bola Tinubu, the person is coming to waste resources. I'm telling you the truth because Tinubu is going to win the election because Tinubu says that the toughest challenge he experienced in doing his APC convention 2023 and general election, this one is a done deal. The man said it, and many people thought that he's joking. He's going to win this election landslide victory. I'm telling you the truth because of the kind of irregularity we are experiencing in this country. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I got you from Enugu State. Don't forget you are open to own an opinion. Hello, good morning.
Franklin.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, good morning. Doctor, good morning, sir.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
Yeah, my name is David. I'm calling you from Ose, in Anambra State.
Go on, sir.
Yeah. I'm just so very, very elated that to hear that Kwankwaso is at home and as in is comfortable with going with P2B, which I know that is a very, very, very strategic plan to rescue power from APC. come 2027. And we are all solidly behind that very move. If they can solidify and perfect their plan, I know the sky will be their stepping stone. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Franklin.
Yes.
Good morning, Right Honorable Tony Olisambe.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
The voice of Honorable Mayor Oku Mejebi Okulolo Tendono. Can I go on?
Yes, go on, sir.
Tony, I like the way you people analyze things. But I'm so much worried about this Napik man, what he said. And I want to ask him, is there any place in the world that this kind of measures or law are being made when somebody just become faulty of running one way or things like that?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so please just adjust from where you are and then repeat your question.
Yes, is it okay now?
Yes, go on.
Okay, I said, is there any place in the country or in any country in the world where type of measures are being taken? I don't know why this type of thing.
Sorry, what kind of measure are you referring to?
The measure of one-way traffic motor impounding.
Okay.
Yes, in Anambra State. Motor impounding in Anambra State. Yes. Is there any place in this country that has such law? This is number one. Number two, in the whole world even. I don't know. Sometimes I will say that some people, when they give them power like this, they will just listen it up. But you impound in somebody's vehicle. Even let me just stop here. Tony, please answer please.
All right. Thank you. We're going to attend to that. Just listen. As we go on, we're going to get to that. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
It's me,
I'm not sure we got to your name. What's your name?
People that can now the middle for instead. I was so happy because the increase of
are you hearing him very well?
It's alarming. The way they save equities is alarming, including stealing big force. It's alarming. I want the police to do a very strict investigation. It's not really smart, very early. They should allow you to name all their sponsors and their collaborators. So it's not only that popular guy as a book. You must make sure you don't bring up every question, both male and female. That is no, this is the syndicate.
All right.
It's not only 4 persons. There are many.
You mean that there are more people?
People between their tasks. So the police should do their discreet investigation. And I want to commend Mr. Conchi. This one way of it is getting out of hand. I hope it has also the government officials. Because not only to government officials are also involved in this one-way traffic. He should also turn his hand.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining in. Who do we have here? Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Franklin.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Basilugu. And let me talk about the issue of one-way trafficking and the asphalt issue.
Okay.
Tony, believe me that this is going to be a very big issue and very big problem in Anambra State. Because I know that the private motor owners always obey the traffic. But the problem is those transport vehicles. You will be watching them. When there is a little hold up, they will overtake everybody and run that one way. And when you meet those people that are those asphalt boys, they will give them money and they will pass. You as a private vehicle owner want to pass with them, they will cut you. Even if you want to give them money, they will start snapping you. So what are we going to do to make sure that nobody, even the you can be in a traffic road now, you see the traffic is there, and everybody is passing. The person will come and go, and you'll be seeing the traffic people and they'll be watching him going. It's not heartbreaking. It's not that bringing law is very nice. Implementing law is the issue, the very big
problem. How to monitor those laws is the problem we are having. I think Conti is a good man. If you don't that knows Conti is a good man. But Conti can work, you are rightly said. Conti can be in everywhere he needed at a particular point in time. Because I know his people do or job in many ways, collecting that money. What are we going to do? How is Conti going to monitor those people? Because that is the problem. And another thing, we don't have any bus stop. How many bus stops do we have from Oka Road to the other way around to Enugu Park? How do we have any single bus stop? There's no bus stop. Before you segment all those things, there's a lot of things you have to put in place. Those signs, frankly, it's very important because if you not give me signs, I don't know that this place, like for instance for Opiweka, there is a place you corner for Opiweka. They'll be waiting for you to come and go to that 40 place and they will cut you without any sign.
Right.
So that means they have to bring a lot of signs so that people will know that this thing, you are running this way, you are running one way. This is not a service lane because there is something you can see. It's a service lane. And not service lane, you can run one way there.
All right, thank you, Basil.
But there's no any demarcation, everything.
Basil, can you hear me?
So there must be cutting a lot of people. The other thing, the photo of my friend.
Thank you. Thank you, Basil. I think please do understand that we work with time. Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, Franklin.
Yes, good morning. You're welcome on board.
Good morning to you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, voice of Wija Sack from Asada.
Go on.
Yeah, I think the government, in order to regulate and restrict some of all these governmental agencies from committing all sort of serious crimes and displaying all sort of good behavior, we need to have, cameras mounted in each and every of the checkpoints, or we should have a body that supervise each and every of these agencies. If not, we just have them misbehaving. That's what I have to say. Good morning.
Okay, thank you. Awiso Sachs from Asaba. Hello, good morning. Hello, can you hear me? Good morning.
Your line is breaking.
Okay,
You're welcome.
I'm sorry. Please try to call back because that line was muffled. We could barely hear you. Good morning.
Hello.
You're welcome.
Good morning.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Good morning. We can hear you.
Okay. Good morning over there. I am. My name is John. I'm calling from Dubai Estate. Okay.
Okay, go on, sir.
I thank God for the work you people are doing. I want to comment on the man they kidnapped.
Okay.
I thank God for the security people, the police for the work they have done. Because that man is a good man and one of his tenants living at Amma for, what did they call it, St. Paul, that side of a new tire. So I thank God for the work they have done. And most times that is why I do wonder that all these things they say it is bush. They tie people, they kidnap in the bush, stay there for 3 days, 1 week. I wonder, because this one now is an eye-opener. How can they kidnap person other from Onisha? Which bush are here? They will keep them. So all this hotel or some of the building, they will put people there. It's just like when we are discussing along the road, or one person mentioned that all those that some people say that it is charm. That when they carry people, you will be seeing bush where they are along the road. Say they charm the person in their eye, you will be seeing bush. While it is express, you are passing. Oh, I thank God for this one.
All right.
I thank God for information you people are passing. Keep it up. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for joining. Good morning. Okay, try again. Don't forget we're also live on our Facebook page. In a moment, we're going to get there and acknowledge our post. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, good morning, President.
Good morning. Who do we have?
My name is Danny Emmanuel. I'm calling from Monaco.
Go on, Mr. Emmanuel.
Thank you very much. I think
let me start from Atma. All this law we are rolling out from Atma. I think there are so many lacunas there. One, all this when they say you cannot pick somebody, apart from picking somebody from park. How many parks is there from Okaro to Ose? I think formally they're supposed to have bus stop. Because you cannot tell me that somebody will maybe enter from Umbo Johnson where there's park. And that part maybe we see that around Bruni roundabout. So somebody cannot stop around the whole road in Bruni. You cannot stop person there, you cannot pick person. So there's a lacuna there. And we are doing this saying that when you have photo down, it cannot stay there more than 1 hour. Who tell them the 1 hour that we will stay there more than 1 hour? You are also stopping now. Immediately you are coming down, from your to know what will happen. They will come there and they will get your motor and telling you that you are there for a day. Who will talk on behalf of you? You are the only you will be man alone, a lone voice in the wilderness. They will do everything. They will give all manner of agitation on top of you. So all this they're just putting it there to still defrauding people, if I may say.
All right.
And let me talk this. I think Atiku Abubakar is somebody they start to destroy any party, any opposition that come to attack the PDP. Just start from Buhari regime. The other 2023, you know that the son of South is coming from the north, and now he's coming again from ADC. And look what will happen now. So one time you see that all this litigation against ADC, all of them will go down. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, thank you. So let's quickly talk about these things, because some of the things we read out are things contained in ATMA's regulations. You know, the issue of if your vehicle breaks down, you are expected that within 1 hour you should be able to tow that. And also, let's also tell the people that when certain things happen, I think ATMA has a towing vehicle, FRSC has. There are also private towing vehicles depending on what happened. Okay, so that is noted. Then the issue of picking passengers is also what we read that is part of their regulations. But what we know is that Anambra does not have enough parks. But I think there are approved road shoulders where you can clear very well and pick up passengers.
Yes, let me quickly explain the difference between parks and bus stop. The difference is this: parks are places you load passengers. These are parks. Bus stops are places you stop. You can pick passenger, but you cannot spend more than 2 minutes at any bus stop. Bus stop is not for loading, but any passenger that is waiting, you drop the one who wants to drop, and the one that wants to get in immediately. Is not everywhere. But the question is, people are prioritizing parks. You ask the question, how many bus stops do we have? Because these bus stops, they are put in a place whereby you don't obstruct traffic flow while you're trying to drop your passenger. You must clear a way from the road.
For instance, if you get to Savoy now, there's a filling station there that had been used.
Thank you. That filling station, I don't know the name, is usually used as a bus stop, not as a park. You can pick passenger from that filling station because it is. And filling stations along different roads can as well be used as bus stop. It's one thing ATMA will discuss with fuel station owners. Fuel station owners, you can use their vicinity because you must drive into that vicinity. You don't block their business anyway. Like you don't block their business, so that you can pick passenger and at the same time, stop those. Okay. You don't stop indiscriminately.
So let's quickly run through our Facebook poll before we get to the report. Right. Ifeanyi Chukwu Chris Ojuku says, does our vote really count? I don't think so, because I and you know that free and fair election. Okay. No, that's something I said. I keep on saying this thing because please help us.
He didn't type very well or what?
So from what he wrote, I can infer that what he was trying to say that if it's going to be free and fair election, the incumbent might not return. Funai Reader says On one-way traffic, the government should criminalize. Okay, I think he says one-way traffic should be criminalized in all parts of Anambra State. Many lives have been claimed as a result of one-way traffic, especially at Owerri Road. There is upper Iweka axis, mostly at night. Nevertheless, he's saying, okay, thank you for the commendation. Zepwe Celestine says, why does it look like we have more killings and death casualties in Nigeria, even though we are not at war? But in war-prone countries like Iran, Russia, and Ukraine, it's not so. There are more to this terrorism in Nigeria than we are seeing now. I think Nigerian government should explain to us why these killings have not stopped, in spite of all money being invested in security in this country. Then, Dr. Misimo Lebra from Ore says, according to Reverend Father John Ode, blessed are those who grumble in the safety of their homes, but they cannot voice out publicly against a leadership that has entirely proved to be a curse on the people, for nobody will disturb them, and there we have peace of graveyard. And she's saying that we in Nigeria have allowed evil to soar high, and when evil reaches its ceiling, it no dives. Thank you for your opinion. Rochrat Obiagu Great Christopher from Abatan Suba says, Atiku should be aware that zoning will determine the outcome of the 2027 presidential election. This same attitude from him was what brought down PDP to where they are now. The same happened in ADC because of his greedy type of politics. Now everybody has left ADC for him. Let him try that, his popularity and rest at once. Chelozier K. Prince says, my take is on the new rule about driving one way in Anambra State. So this one way issue is also being violated by Atma, Udoga, Chiagune Chamber, and almost all those wearing the task force of the state, who will arrest them if they fall victim. He's saying we should go to Boromir and Dabata and see what happens there. Which says, from my humble analysis, I don't see our brother P2B winning that election because we don't win an election by emotion. Innocent Nwoke says, Anambra State government should do something to checkmate the happenings in our primary and secondary schools. Students can't use textbooks used by their elder brothers or elderly ones, and the issue of students graduating many times before their time of graduation, this is pure extortion. Also, Francis says, I totally agree with the statement credited to former President Goodluck Jonathan saying, if you want to serve and your people don't want to go and sleep. That's a good one. I urge him to ignore the calls by some individuals asking him to come and recontest for presidency come 2027 to save his national and international reputation. Ifeanyi Jibuaku says, okay, talking about Tony Biden and Arsenal fan. Tony, your brother is spotting you out here. Then, Young Gobonwa says, Nigeria seeks fresh $1.2 billion World Bank loan, second largest under Tinubu government. Soon as each and every one of us in Nigeria will begin to pay our debt. He posted from Benue State. Mastope says, a good leader should know what the people want, not what the elected leaders need in his pocket. And Chimeze Stevens says, please, any update on INEC in Idemli North? The information I got said they will start working at the end of the month. What is going on? What are our leaders doing to make sure people get voters card? Okay, we'll find out. I'm bringing it on this very platform. Ekegona says, the partnership of Obi and Kwankwaso is a good one, but my problem is that the APC government is in charge of every sector of Nigeria when it comes to election. Then Angli Kokoye Kachi Clement, or rather Kachi Clement, Don Deja Vu, Chinedu Amadi, Nemeka Umagudosi, Chinedu Amadi, all of you, thank you for dropping by. Quite appreciate all the inputs you have made. So, Tony, let's begin with the question we have hanging, coming from Mayor. Is there any place in Nigeria, outside Nigeria, where impoundment of vehicle is done, as announced by Atma?
You know, there was a time a journalist with one of the private televisions had his vehicle impounded. Remember, he was convicted. And I remember sometimes during these banters, those who criticize him for his kind of journalism will say, a convict. They will use the word a convict. You are a convict. And they will remind them that he was convicted of traffic offense, not criminal offense. And they will tell him it does not matter. Once a convict, always a convict. And that is a tag. If you are convicted of traffic offense, but it's not dishonesty, and then other things related that will make you not to contest for election, but you don't need to have that tag. There are places in the world that is strictly empowerment. They will even go as far as taking away your license revocation. In most places in Europe, when you drive when you drive one way, that is against the traffic, you think you will return your driver license. Once you drive against traffic in Europe, your driver license will be revoked. Not just your vehicle being impounded, but most times, if it is understood that you were under influence of alcohol, drugs, and other things, you go for rehabilitation before you start driving again.
Do they impound vehicle or revoke license, bar you from driving, flag your license? Do they do the two in some European countries?
If you drive dangerously, the vehicle will be impounded, your license will be revoked. But if you drive against traffic, mostly you pay fine upon conviction, or your license will be revoked. It depends on country. If you go to countries like New Zealand, I know very well that the traffic regulators, they impound vehicles without fine. That is in New Zealand. If you go to Dubai does something like that, but they also include dangerous driving, reckless driving, wrong direction, and so many things. If you go to Italy, I'm aware Italy does something like that, but most places they pay fine. Even in Nigeria here, in Lagos, one-way traffic in Lagos comes with empowerment and also prosecution. But upon prosecution, your vehicle may be released. They do prosecute. That's why one of the, I won't call his name, you know the journalist I'm talking about. Yes. He was, caught driving against traffic, and his vehicle was impounded and other things. All
right. So quickly, what you wanted to say about the Kenyan incident where Macron said, ask people to stop making a noise at an event?
No, that's for me, that's leadership. And when we started, you did say quite a lot of things about that very event, and you said, in fact, the University of Nairobi was the venue chosen for that. But I know very well that very event is more like hosted by Kenyan President William Ruto and French President Emmanuel Macron. Both of them are co-hosting this, and this is the first African-France summit held in an English-speaking African country and outside of France's traditional sphere of former colonies. That's more like shifting towards broader partnership. And you look at so many head of states who are in attendance, apart from Kenyan President William Ruto and France President Emmanuel Macron. President Tinubu is there. He will be making his own speech today. Then you have Bassirou Faye of Senegal, Alassane Ouattara of Ivory Coast, and then Nguema of Gabon, even Bouaki of Liberia, and then Julius Maodo Bio of Sierra Leone. These are people who are there.
Is France trying to get back into Africa?
Of course. France has this penchant for Africa, because if you look at the statement credited to Emmanuel Macron, he stressed overhauling relations for partnership on an equal footing. He's bringing equal footing now, because over the time they have done grievous things against Africa. Look at their colonies. So many of them are still using CFA. But
so Tony, I got double. So
all right.
That means tomorrow we're going to give you food chop.
Yeah, of course.
All right, so thank you all for joining today's conversation. We are out of time. Like we said, tomorrow is an encore.
I also want to tell people, please, all these bungalows, these big houses, duplexes that people do see, something may be going in there. There are no more erecting camps. Camps have been destroyed. They are using houses, duplexes for kidnapping. Please intimate security operatives.
All right, so on that very note, thank you for today's program. My name is Franklin Beketono Disambeki, was in the analysis desk. Next is going to be sponsored program.